Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the classic Seagull 1963. This is the Red Star version. I purchased this watch with earnings from this channel, so without you guys, a video like this is not possible. So again, huge thank you goes out to each and every one of you guys. And if you guys want to pick one of these up, I'll be leaving a link down in the video description. That is an affiliate link. If you use that link, you're not paying any extra. I just get a little bit of commission, and it allows me to keep the channel running and do videos like this. So the price that I'm seeing today is anywhere from $108 US to $160, depending on the options you choose. I purchased the very basic model for this thing for $92 US during the last sale, and that's just crazy. That's the cheapest price I've seen a ST19 powered 1963 on AliExpress. I've seen other ones that are cheaper, but they are not ST19 powered. So just be careful. I would just stick with this one. You're not going to get a better price than this, in my opinion. So they all come in this same basic colorway, the gold with the red and the blue hands. They come in different sizes. They come with different crystal. You have a sapphire crystal or an acrylic crystal. They come with a display case back or a solid case back. They come with different straps as well. So there's plenty of options to choose from, even a different movement style, I guess. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So for this model, the watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has an acrylic crystal, has a push-pull crown, screw-down case back, 50 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the classic Seagull ST19 hand-wind chronograph movement. So news broke about a week ago, I'd say. Mark from Long Island Watches said the ST19 that's powering this watch and all the other 1963s and various other watches out there is being limited in production. You can only purchase them with 10,000 units, and that's a lot of units. So yeah, I don't think a watch like this is going to be around for much longer. So when I saw that news, I just went out and I found this one. I purchased it, and I'm so glad I did. I don't know why it took me so long to get this watch in. I've never really been a huge fan of the 1963 visuals, but now that I actually have it in hand, I really do like it. So yeah, if you guys are wanting this watch, I say now is the time to go, because once they drop the hammer on that, I believe the only one you're going to be able to buy is the official one, and the official one from the official store, which is retail for like $720 or something like that. So this is a legal clone. But yeah, the prices are just so low, and there's history with the watch, history with the movement, and I think now is a perfect time to buy this watch, and I think you need to act pretty quick, because I think they're going to go pretty quick. Well, enough chit-chat. I say we get right into the full review, but before we do a quick wrist check today. Wearing the Wise Adamascus 88. Absolutely beautiful watch. I still need to review this one for you guys. All right, let's get to dimensions. Got a diameter of 37.7 millimeters, thickness of 15 millimeters, 18 millimeter lug width, a lug-to-lug of 46.6, and on the supplied nylon strap, weighs 57 grams. So like I mentioned earlier, I opted for the classic 1963. It's 37.7 diameter and under 47 lug to lug. So for me, it wears great. 15 millimeters thick. That's going to change depending on the crystal you get. You can see here, I mean, this is probably, I don't know, 3 maybe 4 millimeters worth of crystal. So yeah, I mean, the thickness on this one, 15 millimeters seems like a lot, but really it wears closer to like a 10, I'd say, or 11 maybe, just because most of that is crystal, and you got some nice turn down, you got a nice thin mid case as well. It is fully polished, so I feel like it wears pretty true to its 38 millimeter size, but the thickness is definitely not true to size. I think it wears a lot thinner than it is. So yeah, so I love the way that this thing wears. It has a vintage aesthetic to it. I'm gonna go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and in my opinion, I think it wears great. It's kind of got that vintage vibe to it. Obviously, this is a very old design, so it kind of lends to the smaller size in my opinion, but it doesn't look too small. It's got a fairly decent, substantial lug to lug for its diameter, so I think it fits me pretty good. You can see there, it looks nice. It's got nice turn down to the lugs as well. So yeah, and this is with 2 layers underneath the watch there. Sorry, it's having a hard time focusing. But yeah, I do like the way that this thing wears, and I like how it appears on wrist. The crystal is excellent. It's acrylic, so it's going to be nice and clear. But yeah, it just looks really good, and you can see the light playing off of the dial there with the gold and the blue and the red. It all just kind of works. And popping into some more direct sunlight, you can see there, it's a very nice champagne gold color. It looks really good. I was kind of unsure about the colorway, but I really do like it. And again, I mean, no issues reading this thing. The acrylic crystal just keeps it nice and clear. All right, let's go throw this on some straps and we'll get back to the review. Okay, here we are on an 18mm leather strap. This is the one that was in the box here. It's actually not a bad strap. It seems to be pretty comfortable, but I just don't like the design of it really, honestly. We can do better. And here we are on a black leather rally strap. This was one from AliExpress. Actually pretty decent straps. They got recommended to me by another reviewer, and yeah, I think they actually are pretty nice. So I'll try and find the link for this thing and drop it down below. And lastly, here we are, same strap as before, just a brown color, which I do think looks a lot nicer. The dark brown with that dial color just works for me. What do you guys think? And here we are, lastly, on a dark blue nylon strap. Just double pass again. Yeah, looks good. I'm not really sure. I thought blue might go well just because of the hands, but yeah, not too much of a fan of this one. All right, let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. So case finishing leaves a little bit to be desired. Now, I'm going to show you guys here on the top of this bottom lug here. All the lugs are the same, but you can kind of see those little streaks in the polishing. And that's kind of the same case all over the place. It's not something you really notice on wrist at all. It's just when you start to really get it under scrutiny, get it under macro, where you start seeing stuff like that. But yeah, the polishing is not great on this watch. It's not terrible, but it's just not great. You'll see here it is a fully polished case. The bezel on this thing, it's a nice little step there. I think the sapphire one has a bigger and chunkier bezel. But yeah, this one here, I just prefer the look of this one. The case is very nice. Yeah, like I said, nice turn down to the lugs there. Flipping it to the crown side here, you have a nice signed crown here, just a push-pull crown, but plenty big, plenty of grip to be able to wind the movement. Simple pushers there as well. So yeah, there's no sharp edges on it or anything like that. I didn't find any sharp edges on it, which is nice. Flipping it over to the case back here, you have a display case back. The interesting thing about this, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it actually has anti-reflective coating on it. It's got a blue anti-reflective coating on that is a mineral crystal on the back, but yeah, anti-reflective coating on the crystal, on the display case back. Not something I thought I would see ever on a watch, but yeah, it looks really good actually. It keeps the movement nice and visible through that case back all the time. I mean, it's a pretty cool movement, so I guess it makes sense that you'd want some air coating on it. It probably didn't cost them a whole lot, so yeah, kudos to them for throwing air coating on the crystal. Not something I thought I would see. Besides that, you have your 1963 there, a bunch of stars, a bunch of Chinese lettering there that I don't know what it means. Yeah, but it looks good. I think the original 1963 has a solid case back, so the fact that this has a display case back, it's a huge bonus in my opinion. I think it looks excellent, and it's a movement that you're going to want to look at. It's not a super well or high finish movement, but it still looks pretty cool back there. So like I mentioned earlier, I opted for the acrylic version, and I'm so glad that I did. Acrylic crystal is just awesome. I have a soft spot for acrylic crystals. They just look so dang good. They're easy to polish out any scratches as well. They're not going to shatter or anything like that. So yeah, I think this is like besides a really nice sapphire crystal, acrylic crystal is my second favorite type of crystal. And I think they look awesome. They have a great shape to them, as you can see there. You get some distortion and stuff like that. Lots of distortion on the edges there. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm glad I went with the acrylic one. I think the sapphire version just loses a little bit of that kind of vintage charm. So yeah, I am really happy that I went with a acrylic crystal on this one. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. So the dial is pretty much what you'd expect from a Seagull 1963. It's kind of that goldish champagne color dial. It does have a metallic sheen to it, so it kind of changes depending on how the light's hitting it. It goes from a kind of a bright metallic that you can see here to kind of a darker tan color. I think it looks really good. The blue, the red, the gold on paper sounds like it would be ugly, but it just works for me. I don't know why, but it just works for me. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. The dial printing is done nice. You have an applied Red Star logo there at the 12 o'clock position, applied indices at all the hour markers except at 3 and 9 o'clock. The handset that they're using on this, a very simple handset, just flat tips on them, kind of odd, but nicely done. They are blue. They're not blued. They're not heat treated blued. To me, it just looks like they're painted blued, but they do look nice. And the chronograph hand down here, you have your running seconds hand with that counterbalance, and then you have your actual chronograph 30-minute counter there without the counterbalance. I've seen them with counterbalances on both of them. I've seen them with no counterbalances on both of them. I'm not sure which one is more accurate. I really don't care. It doesn't bother me that they're not the same on this one. I kind of like the fact that they're a little different. It kind of differentiates the two. This one is always running. This one is only running when the chronograph hand is running. You got that bright red chronograph second hand there. The alignment on this thing is just spot on. So yeah, this down here that says made in China is probably made in China. 19 yuan, so 19 joules. Again, really. So the dial in general, it just works for me. I'm not really sure why it does on paper, and in my head it doesn't sound good, but now that I actually have it, I'm kind of sad that I waited so long to pick this thing up. So the movement is the Seagull ST19 mechanical hand wind chronograph, a legendary movement, derived from a Swiss movement. There's tons of history on this thing. I've had them in plenty of watches, and they've been fine for me. I have no real complaints with them yet. Here's how this one has been running, and that is just perfection, absolutely perfection. So the thing with this movement is that you can get a swan neck regulator. The swan neck regulator only helps in regulating the watch. It doesn't make the watch more accurate. Apparently it can kind of hold that regulation better than this one can, but I'm not really sure how legit that is, but I just know that it makes the fine-tuning of the regulation better. It doesn't make the watch more accurate out of the box, and obviously you can't get more accurate than this. So I am super happy with this. I've had multiple ST19s, and they've all run really, really strong and really accurate. So for the most part, I've had no problem with them. The power reserve is right around 40 hours, maybe a little bit more, 42 hours, something like that. Pretty happy with that. So you're going to be hand winding this every other day. But yeah, you get about 40 cranks, I think, of this before it starts to tighten up. But yeah, they're excellent movements. They've been around since the 60s. Yeah, they're wonderful. And the fact that they're going to start limiting the production on this, it makes it even more of a bargain, in my opinion. The movement itself is operated by this 3 o'clock push-pull crown. Again, plenty of grip on that thing. Pull it out to the first position. It does not hack, which is, I know some people are going to complain about, but you got to think this is a 60-year-old movement. Everything functions as it should. Top pusher here starts up the chronograph hand, sweeping along at 6 ticks per second, nice and smooth. This one is really smooth. I've had them where that second hand kind of jumps around a little bit, but this one is super nice, super smooth. That chronograph 30-minute counter there, it'll tick over at every minute. It won't, smooth sweep across. So that's nice to see as well. And it'll just keep on running. It'll keep on going past 30 minutes. So yeah, really a nice chronograph movement, nice solid feedback on that pusher. This one down here feels a little bit more mushy, but the sound is there, and it snaps right back into position. So I've got no complaints with the movement on these things. I love the ST19. I'm really sad that they're starting to limit the production of that. All right, let's talk about the strap on this thing. So it does come with the strap in the box. It's 18 millimeters tapering down to 16 millimeters. It's not a nice strap. It doesn't really look like leather. It doesn't smell like leather. It doesn't feel like leather, but they do label this as genuine leather. But I will say it is a pretty comfortable strap. It's pretty flexible right out of the box. I've worn it for a couple hours and it was perfectly fine. The buckle on it is nothing special, fully polished buckle, very vintage looking, I guess. You get one floating keeper, one stationary keeper. All the stitching is done pretty nice. I've got no complaints with that. The size is pretty nice. It does have quick release spring bars as well. So yeah, it's a decent strap. The watch does come on this nylon strap. It is a pretty nice nylon strap, nice and flexible right out of the box. I like the color of it. It's kind of a greenish khaki color. Looks really good. Polished hardware to match the case. It's nothing fancy again, but it's nicely done, nicely executed, and it's just long enough for my 7.5-inch wrist where I can get the actual tuck. Yeah, so that's all I can really hope for in a nylon strap. But this is a good nylon strap. I'm going to be wearing it on this nylon strap probably for the rest of its life. So there you go, guys. That is my full review of the Seagull, or Red Star Seagull 1963. It's a watch that I've always wanted to get, but I've always been a little afraid of the size and the colors. And yeah, so I'm happy that I finally pulled the trigger and got one of these things, especially now that they're going to be limiting that ST19 production. I have a feeling in a few months, probably, all these third-party ST19 powered chronographs are going to go away. Maybe we'll see someone else step up, but for now, this is it. And if you want a authentic Seagull 1963, this is the one to get. This is the cheapest one that I found, right around $100, guys. You're gonna be able to pick this thing up, and that's just a crazy value in my opinion. I was expecting some quality control issues, or the movement not to be regulated very nicely, or just something wrong with this watch. And it came absolutely perfect. It came in like 7 days to the United States. So if you are interested in this watch, I suggest using my link down below. There's a lot of fake ones out there that use a VK63 or some sort of Miyota movement, or an automatic movement that has a day and a date. I've seen that as well. So yeah, just be very careful where you're purchasing from. This one I can confirm it's the ST19, and this has got to be the cheapest place that you can find this thing. So if you are going to purchase one of these things, I say you act quickly. Go down below, click that link, buy it from there. I'll appreciate the commission. You guys will appreciate the watch, I think, because it is just a classic Chinese watch, and you're really not going to find any better value for that. So yeah, I think that's it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.